Happy Hump Day, Fumble fam. Welcome to the Fumble Live. We have a lot to get into today, including a date for the NBA to return. I'm going to give you all the details about that in just a second. But first, make sure you subscribe to our channel for notifications. Give this video a thumbs up. Bless you to whoever just sneezed. I heard that. Share this video with your friends, you guys. Leave a comment below. And now to introduce the lovely Fumble squad, including the sneezer. But first, I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram at Devin Howard. Chris, was that you who just did that?
No, it wasn't me, I swear. It's your boy Chris. Follow me everywhere at CK2K.
I also did not sneeze, so we now know who the culprit is. Me. But I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on all things social media. Oh, well, then we got a phantom sneezer out here. I don't know. You can follow me everywhere at JRay the Fanatic.
And I also did not sneeze. It's your girl, Britt Johnson. You can follow me on all social media at I am Britt Johnson.
All right, I'm officially blaming Leo behind the sneeze. Bless you to Leo. You guys,
it wasn't me.
Okay, well then we have a
Wait,
ghost.
What?
To
me, it didn't sound like a sneeze. I don't know, but I don't know what that was.
Well, this is what happened yesterday during my intro, you guys. There was some noise that happened yesterday. I don't know if anyone else heard it, but I think that we are maybe being haunted by some sort of ghost.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
Rundown of what we're getting into today. We're talking about Eric Reid and how he dragged the NFL and teams within the league. I think you guys are going to like this story. We're also talking about the comeback date for the NBA, as well as some new rules that they're putting in place. And we're getting into Anthony Morrow and a nickname that he had for Steph Curry. That's what's coming up for me. What do we have coming up for you, Chris?
We have like you were talking about with Eric Reid, we have another person that was not a fan of the Niners post. A lot of people. We also have some people that were not happy with the Redskins posting yesterday. We have a PSA also from Bradley Beal, along with other things in post up today.
Great. And then Jackie, what's coming up in WTF?
I'm going to tell you, but Chris, what did you call that Washington team again? What did you call them?
Well, I call okay. I apologize. I called them the team that they are named.
Okay, next time get it right. But it's just Washington. It's fine. But yeah. So we have no racist football team names, but we do have some racism to talk about in WTF. Some firings that I know Britt's going to be excited about because she talked about it a little bit yesterday, and some clapbacks from some of our favorite people. At least one of my favorite people, on not such a good way, but still like to talk about them. So we're going to talk about all of that in WTF.
All right. And then, Britt, what do we have coming up for you in Britt's Takes? Any hints you want to give us?
So it's actually about Jackie, another one of your favorite people, but I'm calling him out. So stay tuned for that.
Oh, goodness.
All righty then. I'm excited to hear what that's all about. Well, let's get into this first update. The top need-to-know news story is all about Eric Reid and how he called out the NFL. So the NFL is attempting to jump on the bandwagon of the Black Lives Matter movement, the Blackout Tuesday movement. And to be honest, it's a half-assed attempt at support and solidarity. So Eric Reid called out the league and several teams who posted for Blackout Tuesday, but haven't really done anything actionable to uplift the Black community and really show support. So the 49ers posted a black square, as a lot of people did yesterday, and they wrote Black Lives Matter, #Blackout Tuesday. Eric Reid retweeted their post, writing, "I think you meant Black Ball Tuesday. I digress." He sent the same type of message to the Texans, Cardinals, Falcons, and Bears for their posts, believing that the teams and the NFL as a whole blackballed Colin Kaepernick for kneeling during the national anthem as a way to protest police brutality and racial injustice. As we all know, Cap has not played in a game since that season. The NFL also shared a statement from Roger Goodell that said, quote, "The NFL is greatly saddened by the tragic events we've seen recently." He offered his condolences to Floyd Floyd's family while pledging future action on behalf of the league. He said, quote, "As current events dramatically underscore, there remains much more to do as a country and as a league." Kenny Stills wrote back saying, "Save the BS." And then Eric wrote, "Hypocrisy, the practice of claiming to have moral standards or beliefs to which one's own behavior does not conform." So obviously, until the NFL actually makes systematic changes to show up for its Black athletes and actually represent them in positions of power, I think they deserve this kind of dragging. And I feel like all this boils down to really is just a weak performative show of solidarity that only trivializes the situation at hand. I think that they need to do so much more. They need to take more action. That's my thoughts. Britt, how do you feel about the NFL and teams posting for Blackout Tuesday?
I'm tired. Like, this is like, I mean, it goes along with kind of what I was saying yesterday about, like, are people like in organizations kind of just feeling bullied into posting because we've been talking so much about silence, so they don't actually believe what they're posting. They're just posting it because they don't want people to think that they're not, like, down with the cause. But your action speaks the loudest, like, not an Instagram or social media posts. It's what you actually do, and your actions have not backed up what you just posted. So if this post means that now in the future you're going to have action, then fine. But as of right now, you do deserve all the dragging you're getting because your actions up to this point have not represented whatever you decided to post the past couple days. So that's all I have to say about that. I mean, they knew that was going to happen. You should know better than that. Like, I'm sorry, just another stupid move.
Yeah. Jackie, do you appreciate that they posted something, or do you feel that it's just completely way too little, way too late?
No, I don't appreciate a damn thing. Like, the hell? I don't even know how to answer that question. No, nah, it's not appreciated at all. If I could, maybe somebody slapping the hell out of them, I would appreciate that. I would appreciate them saying, hey, we blackballed Colin Kaepernick. That's why we paid him all that money in that collusion case. We were wrong to do that. We know that we are run by a whole bunch of racist old white men. We're going to try to change that. We don't know how yet, but look, we're owning up to it. Say that, I'll appreciate that. All this other shucking and jiving they doing. Right. Yeah, well, you know what? Truth sometimes is a big ask. And at this point, ain't nobody trying to hear you placating us. Go to hell. I'm good.
Yeah. Chris, how do you feel about Eric and Kenny calling out the teams?
I felt like it was how everyone feels. I mean, that's the first thing I saw. I didn't even think of it as oh, nice. Look, at least they're trying to make. No, the first thing I commented when I saw it was convenient. That's all I put. Like, they're just trying to do this to try to save face, and it's not going to save face because it's a bigger issue at hand. And now that you're hearing everybody talking up about it, now you're trying to take advantage of a situation like this. Like, to me, that just shows how blind, how stupid that organization really is. So it's like, no. I think they should have said something, and especially with somebody that was a part of the organization and a part of that actually had some of the effect from what happened to Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reid. Yeah, I'm glad he said something that he should have.
Yeah. I mean, like I said before, I feel like they're just jumping on a trend. It's something that they feel they need to do because everyone else is doing it. But with the NFL, we see how racism is so deeply just ingrained in everything that happens within the league pretty much. And this post feels very weak and very, very performative. Now let's move in to the NBA. Some exciting news, I think. The NBA has a plan to return from July 31st to October 12th. Woj tweeted, the NBA is inviting 22 teams to Orlando, 13 Western Conference, 9 Eastern Conference, 8 regular season games per team play in for the 8th seeds. So that's what's going on now, but I also want to fill you guys in on this news about incentives for top-seeded teams since there will be no home court advantage. So ESPN reported that higher-seeded teams are considering methods of obtaining some sort of advantage over lower-seeded teams to recoup some of the lost edge. They include the higher seeded teams being given the first possession of the second, third, and fourth quarters, and they'll also have the opportunity to allow one player on their team to commit up to 7 fouls as opposed to the current max of 6. They've also considered adding an extra coaches challenge, transporting their home court's hardwood floors to Orlando, and allowing teams to choose which Disney World hotel to stay at in order of their seeding. Another concept includes higher seeded teams picking their first round of opponents. So Jackie, which of these advantages do you feel is the most valuable and which are kind of ridiculous?
Did you say they're going to bring in the court from their home team?
They said that.
That's dumb as hell. I thought that's what you said, but that's why I had to adjust my headphones. I was like, I'm tripping. I need a new set of headphones. This is a lot.
I know.
That's
I want to know ridiculous. It's obviously that one. So, okay, yeah. Tell me which is the most valuable, which is the most ridiculous.
I mean, the only one, and you guys know that what my job was when I played basketball. So the only one that sounds really good to me is the extra foul. I could have used the extra foul when I was playing, so I like that one. But other than that, I mean, go ahead with this. I don't know. Whatever y'all need to do to feel better. If you need wood shipped in, then I guess whatever. I don't know, man. Just play the damn game at this point. I don't know.
I'd also like to add one that I personally find ridiculous is being able to choose which Disney World hotel you get to stay at, like as if that's going to affect the outcome of the game.
Right.
No, they just need a comfortable place to sleep. It's silly. I mean, it's just funny how they're considering all of these things. But Chris, how do you feel about this format and the plans that they are putting into place to resume the season?
I mean, I'm okay with it just because I want to see basketball, but I have questions because now we got two teams in the Eastern Conference that are going in. Are the 8 games that they're going to play, is that going to be a separate 8 games from the regular season?
Right.
Because now the Wizards can go in there and blow it all and go 0-8, but then now that helps their chances in the draft if that is included with their regular season record, and then that bumps the Knicks down even more. So I'm just curious how that works, if this is going to be a fresh 8 games and then who comes out the best in these 8 games go to the playoffs. So that's the big question I have, how that pertains to the entire NBA. But other than that, look, just the fact that, basketball sounds like it's coming back, I'm cool with it. I just still have a few questions that want to be answered before we see this. And yes, those trying to like give them like benefits and stuff like that, thinking that that's going to make a difference. Like that's going to replace crowd noise and crowd support. Like to me, that's all BS. Like bring all the courts you want. Bring the 1970 courts. I don't care what you guys do. It's not going to change what's going to. That's crazy to me.
So Britt, I know you've been saying that the NBA needs to say less in general, but since it does seem like they're ready to make this official announcement with a comeback date and a plan in place, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it. Do you feel that this is a solid, fair plan? Is there anything that you don't like about it?
As far as, resuming the season on the 31st and then Game 7 of the NBA Finals being played on October 12th, I think that's kind of what we all knew the NBA was wanting to do anyway, because obviously we've heard for years and years that the NBA wants to start actual regular season on Christmas Day, and this kind of puts them in the position to do that for the upcoming season. So I think that this is a good move as far as like all the home field or home court advantage type things. That's not going to happen. Like I personally, like I know Jackie says a lot that whoever wins this season has an asterisk by their name. I don't feel that way because I feel like whoever wins this season really deserves to win because everybody's kind of been put through hell. And like, if you can make it out on the other side, I think that's like a great redeeming quality. That's pretty awesome if you can win it right now. But I would say if they started using these like gimmicky things where it's like, oh, well, they get to start in the second, third, and fourth quarter with the ball, and they get to, get an extra foul on one of their players or whatever the case is. When it gets to that point, then I might kind of like be, oh, maybe this asterisk thing needs to come back because that's just like silly. Like really, home field advantage or home court advantage mostly provides just like the rest of being at home and not having to travel at a certain point, and then obviously getting that potential Game 7 with the crowd and stuff like that. Other than that, home court advantage doesn't really mean a whole lot. Like I know they actually always say playing in Madison Square Garden, like their court and stuff has a couple creeks in some places that the players kind of know a little bit better than everybody else. So little stuff like that. I guess I could understand why people would want to bring their court in, and just seeing their logo on the court during the game might be helpful. But other than that, everything else is like super gimmicky and I don't understand why they would even, have that or do anything like that. So if they just, I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't think that NBA is that silly. I mean, I know these are rumors, and really these are things that like reporters and other analysts have come up with like as ways to do it. This isn't something the NBA actually said. The NBA never said those were incentives that they were thinking about. These are what people have told them, maybe they should do this for home field advantage. But they're voting tomorrow. I'm excited to see, the outcome of the vote. I believe it's everybody's going to vote yes on this. And so I'm excited to see season start and see my Clippers win it all.
Or the Lakers. I do want to add that the ESPN report that did have all of these home court advantage, ways to have that, all these advantages and all these incentives that they would give out. They did say that it's not a priority for the NBA, although they are thinking about it. So you are probably right on that, Britt, that they probably won't put any of these in place, but it is something that is just being talked about somewhere along the line behind the scenes. Now let's get into the final need to know news story. Anthony Morrow was teammates with Steph Curry during the Warriors superstar's first year with the NBA back in 2009. The two became close friends, and then they reconnected on the latest episode of the Life podcast. Anthony revealed an interesting nickname that he had for Steph during his rookie year: middle school shoddy. And the meaning behind it, he said, quote, is that he played carefree like he was in middle school, but it was effective and he turned into one of the GOATs. To me, that doesn't sound like a nickname at all because it's longer than Steph, but whatever. Chris, so my question for you, what is your favorite nickname in the NBA if you have one?
Oh, snap. Right. Well, right now, I think my favorite nickname in the NBA right now is definitely Spicy P. I love that nickname. I love it so much. It just fits him. He's even starting to enjoy it. I think Spicy P is just a funny nickname. I think it's dope.
All right, Britt, do you feel that middle school shoddy makes sense for Steph?
No.
What the hell kind of question?
I warned you guys.
I'm sorry, I wasn't ready.
All right, well then, Jackie, a question for you before we move on into the post-up. Who has the best nickname in the league?
I love Boogie. I love the name Boogie because it just fits him. It fits his whole personality, his whole character. Every now and then I'll hear people say gangsters don't dance, they boogie, when he does something goofy. So I just love the name. I just love the name Boogie. I think it's cute and it's fun.
All right. So middle school shoddy doesn't make anybody's favorite.
Oh God!
Don't put middle school in the nickname of a grown man. Let's just make that.
Saying middle school and shoddy in the same, like I don't like it.
It's on the lines of like Big Baby Davis, like
right.
Big Baby Davis has like one of those names too.
I just don't like middle school and shoddy in the same. Like I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I feel like the worst one ever was one of my favorite guys ever, Corey Maggette. They used to call him Barron when he was with the Warriors.
Yeah.
There was a lot of scoring and penetration, but nobody was ever excited to see what was going on because they were still losing and stuff like that.
Jacked up.
How is your name in the NBA going to be bad porn? Bad porn,
right?
Really?
Right. No,
that has to be like one of the worst ones.
Come on,
no,
man.
this is along the lines of
that.
That's
boy. You said that was when he was with the Warriors, right?
Yeah, when he was with the Warriors.
Well, it looks like a theme.
They didn't call him bad porn anymore.
Looks like a theme. They just don't know how to nickname people up there in the Bay.
They don't know how to nickname their players.
No.
Guys, we got $10 from Pahokee Sports, and his message just says J-Ray the Fanatic. So that's for you, Jackie.
Shout out.
Thank you. He's always supporting. We're friends on Instagram. We always shout. It's cool. Thank you.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, well that wraps it up for Need to Know News. So Chris, take it into the post up.
Yes. Welcome to the post up. With your boy Chris, Quarantine Edition, and we are going to piggyback off of the first story with Eric Reid and my boy Kenny Stills, who had what they had to say about the 49ers post. I really don't want to spend any more time on this, but I do want to shout out to Donovan Mitchell, who said literally what I'm sure everyone was thinking when they saw this. He just simply put up, "Stop it." And honestly, that's how I feel about this. And I'm moving off of it, and that's all I'm going to give the energy for that. Unfortunately, we got to talk about that other team. But before we get to that, I want to get to Steven Jackson, who we talked about was really close with George Floyd. He went out to Minnesota and spoke right after the murder. He went out there and spoke and led protests there. Same thing when he came back to Houston, which is where his family is and everything. And they're George Floyd's body, and they're gonna lay him to rest, and they're gonna celebrate him this week. They led another protest, and Steven Jackson went up there right after George Floyd's mom had spoken. That hit her speech was really well done, but it was really it was sad to listen to, but it was very needed. But Steven Jackson then pretty much was like the exclamation point to everything that she had said, and here was the clip from his speech.
We're gonna put my brother. We're gonna send him home in beautiful ways this week. But I'm telling you, we are not leaving. We demanded justice, and I'm tired of seeing that. I'm not gonna see her hurt every day like this. We need justice. We demand it, and some kind of way, goddamn it, we gonna get it. Thank y'all for coming, but this shit has to stop, man. It has to stop.
Straight to the point, Jax. Appreciate that one, Stacks. And on that note, I have to move to that other team that I slipped up and said, because I'm here reading like a fool, and it was there because somebody said it. But yes, that team in Washington, I call them Team 30, Team 32, because I put them at the very bottom of my list whenever we talk about football. But yes, that team in Washington, they thought that it would be a great idea to try and join the movement of posting their black square and adding hashtag Blackout Tuesday, and thinking that nobody was going to say anything about the blatant racism that they continue to show every single day that they are still named the name that they are. And as you'd expect, people had things to say. Now, their tweet is up, and they kept it simple and just put the hashtag and saying, look, we did our part. There's our thing. Look, we're just like everyone else. Cool. Right off of that, Matthew Cherry was not going to let this slide, and he responded by saying, how about starting with blacking out your logo and change your team's racist nickname? That's how you can help combat racism. Look in the damn mirror. Facts. We had another tweet that came up saying, thank you, Washington racial slurs, for standing against racism. I think right there is the perfect summary of that. And last but not least, this is coming from a whole immigration legal service nonprofit that came in here and told them and pretty much gave them some advice that I feel like shouldn't have even had to be given to them, because they should have just been able to know this. But I guess it just shows how smart the organization is. With this tweet saying, from one social media manager to another, this was not a great move. And no, it was not a good move at all. But yeah, again, this is something else I don't want to give too much time to, because just like when I saw the Niners post theirs, and I just looked at it like, of course, real convenient. Seeing this one on top of that was just the icing on the cake, and I'm so sick of the NFL right now. Anyways, moving on to this next one. This one was it was pretty cool. It was definitely a different take, and I'm always a fan when the younger generation, like kids, teenagers, and stuff, are trying to do what they can to speak out with what they know and how the best way they know how. And that was no different with this kid from Philly. His name is Khalil Gardner. He was out there with his homies pulling around this big old basketball hoop that Steph Curry had a hard time putting together. But now him and his boys were out there pulling around like it was no big deal. And they were just basically trying to cut the tension a bit. He was going to people who were protesting peacefully, getting them to shoot shots. He was even going to some of the local cops and getting them to shoot shots in it, just to have a little bit of to add a little bit more positivity to what was going on. Like I said, cut the tension. And he had had a whole cardboard cutout talking about that basketball was a big part of his life, and that was something that was helpful to him and helped him stay positive throughout life. So that's something he wanted to drag around with the Philly protest to hopefully, like I said, cut the tension. So here's the first video of him getting a cop to put up a shot, and a lot like the cop stances with everything going on, this shot was very off. So that was a very I felt like that shot was very symbolic, but either way, it was nice to see that little moment right there. And there was another video that came up, and Stefania, who is actually, and she's on IG. She said, "I know her from YouTube." You know, yeah, she's dope. Yeah, I know her on friend. YouTube. Oh, you know, that's dope. That's really dope. I'm sure the chat knows her because she played 1v1 with Flight, and this Fumble chat is a big fan of Flight React, so people probably know her from that. But she went out there and she was out there giving some of these cops the work, and this cop was no different. Here's her playing 1v1 with one cop right now. Look at that. Man, I'm trying to break the whole backboard. He over here cheating. She laughing about it, but it's okay.
No, she's gonna come from. I don't know if you have.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no, it's in there. No, we gonna see it. No, it's in here. Well, it was in there. Well, I think it was at the top. Yeah. Well, before that, all right. Well, I guess
walk away.
Before that, yeah. No, the walkaway was supposed to be funny, but before that, yes, Stefania gave him the work. She was giving him the work.
I think regardless of point. Right here.
It was. Yeah. It was. Let's see if we can get it. Yeah. It was in the same.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Press play, Leo.
I hate it. See, it was just easy work. It was easy work.
He didn't even try. He too big. Leave that
that's the thing. She posted a whole video, and it was just she was just out there treating like she was out there killing him. So he finally got his chance. This was his opportunity, and then you saw the two shots that you saw. But anyways, yeah, it was cool. It was a cool moment to see, and shout out to Khalil. I love that. Like I said, I'm just a fan of, you know, these kids that even though they might not know the entire situation, them still trying to, you know, bring their touch and bring their, you know, their projects to something like this where, you know, they're being active with it. I'm a fan of that. So shout out to Khalil, shout out to Stefania. I loved all the everything about that. And last but not least, on social media, especially Twitter, there are a lot of ignorant folks going around, especially with everything going on. There have been a lot of posts that have been put up, especially on Twitter. I'm sure on every other social media, but I say especially Twitter because I feel like that's where it comes first. And a lot of people have been sharing, as they should have been, because there's a lot of things that are not being seen in the public eye on media and stuff like that. So with that comes those people who live, you know, in their little slimy little swamps or wherever, where they have things to say that have nothing to do with anything, and there's a lot of negativity and a lot of stupidity over on their side. So as you'd expect, a lot of the athletes who are standing up against this, they're speaking out, saying what they have to say, they're getting a lot of hate along with the positivity in their comments. And Bradley Beal just has a very simple PSA for those folks who might not agree with his takes or agree with the posts and the things that he is sharing. He is simply putting it out, saying that unfollow button works just fine. And it works just fine indeed. I know I've lost a lot of followers, and I am not crying about it in the slightest, because look, that just tells me more, all I need to know about the people that were supporting me at that time. So I'm with them on this one. Quick PSA, if you don't like it, then you can go on right ahead, hit that button, and move on about your racist little way. But on that note, I end post up and I hand it over. So that is enough for me today.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Before we jump into WTF, I want to call out Pahokee Sports again, who gave $5 for the Brit Gang. So thank you so much, Pahokee.
Hey.
That's very nice of you. And now let's go into WTF, Jackie.
All right. You guys know I'm from Denver. So born and raised there, I know what it's like. So if you're from Denver and you happen to be black, if you're in the NFL and happen to be looked over for jobs, I want you to get in a comfortable position, because you're about to laugh, gut-wrenching laugh, because this is going to just really piss you off. But you'll laugh first, I promise, because when speaking about racism in the country, as well as in the NFL, Broncos head coach Vic Fangio had this to say. Leo, can we roll that clip? Like I said, get ready to laugh.
I think our problems in the NFL along those lines are minimal. We're a league of meritocracy. you earn what you get what you earn. I don't see racism at all in the NFL. I don't see discrimination in the NFL. You know,
he might need to get his eyes checked. Maybe he has cataracts. I don't know. But he did go on to say that he was shocked by what happened to George Floyd, and he commended their safety, Justin Simmons, on joining the protest. But his comments to me on that seemed very politically correct, because to say you don't see racism in the NFL is laughable, to say the least. We talk about Colin Kaepernick all the time. He lives in Denver. Stop it right now. There is no way that he doesn't see racism in the league in Denver. I'm not even going to get into all the things that I know personally about that organization. But at the same time, he just overlooks the Rooney Rule and the fact that that's not effective, and that the NFL had to say, hey, we'll give you draft picks if you at least maybe think about hiring people of color. And just to say, hey, no, if the country was like us, the country would be better. Newsflash, the country is like you. They are cool with Black people going out there and entertaining, but they're not cool with giving us equality. So fun fact, it's exactly like the NFL. But I posted something on my Instagram with the protest, and I felt bad because I had to kind of dial some young Black men back. Like this forever, they probably will pass this down. So you, again, have to work twice as hard to get half the credit and to not get the negative attention that unfortunately we often get just because we're frustrated. So I don't know, Devin, what do you think his thought process is? Because he's in the NFL. He knows what the NFL does. He's in Denver. How does he come to this conclusion of saying there's no racism in the NFL?
At all. He said that he didn't know what it meant, but like, who gets a tattoo like that when they don't know what it means? It's obviously offensive to the majority of the players in the league. So it just makes me wonder, like, how does peacefully taking a stand against police brutality, something that literally has no negative effect on anybody, cause Colin Kaepernick to get completely exiled from the league, while this blatantly racist tattoo doesn't even get a slap on the wrist? Like, that alone shows that there's racism that exists within the NFL. And I think what this guy is saying, what Vic is saying, is the perfect example of how we need to be more than just simply not racist. We need to be anti-racist. I've seen that all over social media. This guy can be appalled by what's happening in the world. Maybe he really is, but if he doesn't acknowledge what's happening in his own league, he's completely part of the problem. And I can't even begin to justify his thinking. I can't understand where he's coming from. It just ignores and covers up a huge problem that is very, very obvious, very apparent in the NFL. So I don't have an answer for you about that. I don't understand his thought process.
Yeah, I don't either. But as expected, of course, people came from him. Terrell Owens is one of my favorite people to love and hate on. But he tweeted, he says, I don't see racism at all in the NFL. I don't see discrimination in the NFL. At the NFL, he needs to be drug tested. What does he think that was against Colin Kaepernick? So spot on with that one, T.O. Love you for that. And then Seahawks running back Chris Carson tweeted, this man is a joke, which I also can't even imagine what you think when you see somebody saying that. And he's saying it with a straight face. This is crazy to me. And then former NFL head coach Tony Dungy said, quote, to say there's no racism and no problem, I think really is not recognizing the situation. As you said, the league has talked about having 70 to 75% African-American players and no Black presidents, just a couple of Black general managers. It's not a complete meritocracy, even though it's a great place. And I think the same thing could be said of our country. So obviously, that's one of those, that's like Washington posting #Blackout Tuesday. It just didn't go over well, and it shouldn't. But what we really need to happen is force these people out, in my opinion, and we need to force every single one of them out every single time that they kind of show us who they are. It should not take years. It should not take decades to people kind of to exhibit racist behavior before we do something. So I am glad to report, Britt talked about this yesterday with Grant Napier. He is out. He is not out just from the Kings. He also lost his job with the radio station. So can we get a happy dance moment just here on the Fumble for that? Because the Kings, yes. So round of applause. His radio station posted this tweet. It's a long statement, so I won't read all of it. But basically what they said is they were his recent comments about Black Lives Matter movement do not reflect the views or values of Bonneville International Corporation. The timing of Grant's tweet was particularly insensitive. After reviewing the matter carefully, we have made the difficult decision to part ways with Grant. I don't like the difficult decision part. It should have been an easy decision, but hey, I'm not looking to give horse in the mouth. I'm glad he's out. But here's the funny thing, you guys, because you know how Black Twitter gets activated. MAGA Twitter was activated. There was a lot of tweets. I don't know, Leo, can you? Yeah, a lot of this. All lives do matter, but Black lives is part of all lives. And people saying they were never going to listen to the radio station again, and it did go on and on and on and on. So I just want to say to you guys, I'm sure this man will start a podcast where he shares his racist ideals freely. Please feel free to go listen to that. And goodbye. That's all I have to say about that. Chris, do you have any thoughts on this?
No, not a thing. Goodbye.
Nope.
I saw it come in. I didn't. Look, I'll be real. I didn't think it was going to happen as soon as it happened, and I was very surprised and very happy to see that. So, nope. Keep it pushing. Right move was. I
didn't think so. I thought we all just maybe would do a happy dance or something, but you know, maybe we'll do that at the end of the show. But for right now, it is time for Brits Takes.
Brits Takes.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so today, guys, I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry, Jackie, but I got something to say. So, Drew Brees done messed up this morning, bright and early this morning, and he's already messing up. I didn't think I would ever say this about Drew Brees because I've liked the guy for quite some time now. He's done a lot of great things, but we have a moment here. So he actually did an interview with Yahoo and was asked about the police protest Colin Kaepernick did back in 2016 when he kneeled, and that we now could possibly see players coming into the league this upcoming season do the same thing to stand with Cap and stand with, you know, this issue of police brutality that's been going on. And so he basically was asked what how he thought the league should respond to it, and then what his responsibility was as a leader for the Saints and, you know, just a big face in the NFL organization. I'm not going to play the video for you guys. You guys can check out Yahoo and watch it for yourself, but I don't want to play it because right now I don't want to see this man's face and I don't want to hear his voice. But I will say a little part of what he said. So right when he was asked that question, he said, "I will never agree with anybody disrespecting the flag of the United States of America or our country." He then went on to talk about his grandfather's fought, and that when he stands there before a game for the Star-Spangled Banner with his hand on his heart, he always wants to cry, and he thinks that everybody standing with their hand on their heart together is actually a way to create unity, and we shouldn't have players kneeling basically because then it's like we're not together. We all need to stand together because we can't disrespect the flag and blah, 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 blah. Well, as expected, I got some tweets for you guys, Leo. Some of those up right now because Twitter went in. The first one basically saying, "Imagine getting a question about responding to police brutality. I'll say, well, let me tell you about my white grandpas. Laugh my ass off. They just don't want to see it." The next one. Let's throw the next one up. "A picture is worth 1,000 words." And then we have another one that says, "Maybe Drew Brees should care more about disrespecting what the flag stands for." And then obviously for the Fumble fans out here, we got a favorite one. "Damn, man, my quarterback is named Karen." Yes. Right there, everyone laughed really quick on that one because that was great. There was tons of them. I had to include that one in there for the Fumble fam because we talk about Karen a lot here on this channel. But we also, during Brits Takes, talk a lot about facts. You know, I love to come with the facts because I feel like it helps get rid of confusion. It's very simple. So both of my grandpas actually served as well, including my step-grandpa. So I got 3 grandpas that served. My stepdad served, and my brother is currently serving now. And my brother, he's also a guy that likes facts and is a very logical man. So back in 2016, when the Colin Kaepernick stuff happened and everybody started coming out saying he was disrespecting the flag, I remember my brother, who's in the service right now, took to his social media and to correct everybody on what it actually means to disrespect the flag. So I thought maybe Drew Brees needs a review here. Maybe he missed my brother's post. I don't know how. My brother's a great guy. You should have been my brother. But maybe he missed my brother's post. So I would like to go over a couple things that are in Title IV of the U.S. Code, Chapter 1, Section 8. You guys can look it up if you want to yourself. There's it's like A through K of all the things that mean disrespect to the flag. I will just go over some important ones here. One of us, the flag should never be carried flat or horizontally, but always free. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Star Spangled Banner before a football game. What direction does the flag lay? Oh, it's horizontal. It lays flat. That is disrespectful to the flag, Drew Brees. So maybe you should have trouble and have an issue with the fact that they're laying the flag out horizontal, because in the code, it says that is disrespectful to the flag. Another thing that is disrespectful to the flag should never be used as wearing apparel, bedding, or drapery. How many people on Memorial Day weekend, not this year because a lot of people don't go out, wear a flag bikini, an American flag bikini, or some boxer shorts, or whatever they have, swim trunks that have the American flag on it? That is actually considered disrespectful to the flag, according to the law. I'm just reading facts here, guys. Another one says no part of the flag should ever be used as costume or, guess what, on athletic uniforms. I don't know about you guys, but I think I've seen a couple flags on some uniforms at some point or time. And then, there's tons of others. There's a bunch of other ones. But to be clear, again, I'll repeat it for you guys. It's Title IV of the U.S. Code, Chapter 1, Section 8. You want to go back and check it out for yourself. But kneeling is not listed anywhere on that list. So there is a list that specifically states everything that would be disrespectful to the flag. Kneeling is not on there. We all know Colin Kaepernick actually wanted to sit originally, and then he went back and talked to, and he was sitting the very first time he did it, and then he went back and talked to some military people and asked them, because he didn't want to disrespect them, and they said kneel. So that's why he started kneeling in the first place, because literally it is not considered disrespectful to kneel. But all of these things that we have seen done at football games that Drew Brees didn't want to mention are stuff that actually is considered under law legal to do to the American flag. So I think I think Drew Brees, kneeling, my guy, is not disrespectful. You should be more concerned, like the tweet above had said, of what the flag is supposed to stand for, and that is liberty and justice for all. As a leader on your team, I'm disappointed in you. You have failed your team. As in the community in New Orleans and Louisiana, you have failed them dramatically. And I really feel like you should be ashamed of yourself. I don't understand I don't know what side of the bed you woke up on this morning, but it was the wrong side. Get back in the bed and come back over, because this is not it, my guy. Like, I literally can't believe I have to say this about Drew Brees. Let me go to my Saints fans on the panel. Jackie, I need your thoughts. Chris, I'm going to need your thoughts. Jackie, I'll let you go first. Chris, you could think about it and meditate on it for a second, because I know you guys are probably feeling some type of way about this. Jackie, what are your thoughts?
So, Bray, I've talked about this. I've abandoned ship before when somebody has exhibited their racist ideals. So this one hurt for me, because I couldn't have been 2 weeks ago where I was just saying, hey, my Saints might rally behind Drew Brees now, go out there, win another chip for him, because, he's in his last 2 years with the team. And then, I follow him on Instagram and Twitter, and the way that his team follows him, we've seen him in the huddles, man, his huddle chant fires me up. Like, I literally will play his huddle chants to when I'm having a day, you know what I mean? So this is personal, and I know I don't know him personally, but it feels personal because you view him as such a leader, so it's definitely devastating. I personally have not stood for the national anthem in over 12 years. Once I kind of really understood my personal history as a Black person in this country, the 13th Amendment, and that slavery technically is still legal if it's within the institution, and I understand what institutional racism, prison system, and all that means. And the 3/5 still hasn't been removed from the Constitution. So I haven't stood for the national anthem in quite some time. I would still expect, even if I was sitting next to Drew Brees, I would expect him to understand why I don't stand for the national anthem, what the national anthem actually means as a song and who wrote it. Born Again Racists actually wrote the national anthem, but that's a story for another day. So to have a man who just simply says all of those facts, like you so eloquently put, all of those facts, all of that history doesn't mean a damn thing to me. The only thing I'm thinking about is my white grandpas. And I can tell you right now, Drew, your white grandpas weren't that cool to my white grandpas. So that is a whole nother aspect of this that makes it very devastating. It's going to be almost impossible for me to rally around him as a person. And I get what people are saying, oh, but the Saints is a team, but he is literally the face, the rudder, the leader of that team. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm gonna have to pass this on to Chris and then take my time to meditate. Chris?
I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. Jokes aside, no, it felt personal. It was one of those things where it's just like, just because the question that was
to do
asked,
this to you, Chris.
Yeah, no, because it hurts, because it's so hard for me to pull back.
And I feel it.
And it's hard for me to pull back and like even be like, yeah, well, I mean, that's just his beliefs outside. I can still support him. It's hard. I can't even say that. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna even enjoy football. Like, the only thing that's enjoyable is, yo, Jameis Winston, how you doing, bro? Like, how you looking? The arm looking good? We ain't gonna throw no interceptions. Nah, but all jokes aside, like it just the ignorance and the way he spoke about that situation, it just blew my mind. It just, like you said, I would never, ever, ever think that something like this would then be tied around Drew Brees, because I didn't think that was Drew Brees. And yes, I've seen the question. I've seen the picture. I've seen the picture with Trump. Cool. I get that. And I understand that, he is very, patriotic and stuff like that. But in a situation like this, where I would wholeheartedly expect that he was going to say something completely different, knowing that the boys that are protecting him are brothers. There are lots of players. Hell, the new star player of our team, Michael Thomas, who's been very vocal, is very much with this issue. And he talks about that's his brother and he supports and this and that. But then to come out and just throw this one in left field where I just did not, it hurts. So I really feel like, I got to put sports aside on this one. And I just don't know how to push forward. I don't know if I could push back on my feeling for the team in general. Cause like Jackie said, this dude has been personified as the team for so long. But I can't sit here and say that I'm going to be cheering for him very much. I don't know if I'm even going to touch that jersey in my closet ever again. Right. Too, so I don't know.
It makes me feel for like you said, it makes me feel for the players, because, these players are directly affected by everything that's going on in this country right now. And they have a leader that kind of just said, yeah, but what about my great white grandpas?
Exactly. It just was so,
it's so hurtful. And I don't even know if I can put it into words with everything that we are going through right now in this country. I feel like we are feeling a lot of pain, and we've talked about this time and time again, that sports is often a relief from that. And to have somebody that you look up to, that you've admired for so very long, blatantly tell you, I don't stand with you. It's hurtful. It's very, very hurtful.
Yeah. And then to not just say, because he was specifically asked about, the upcoming season, and if players know how this should be how it should be reacted to and stuff like that. And number one, he should have addressed, okay, police brutality, bad, yada, yada, yada. This is horrible going on. And then if you don't personally choose to kneel, whatever, but to say that it is just, that is disrespectful to the flag. I would never do that. And basically diss everything that Colin Kaepernick did. And literally, like I mean, I said, and like the person said in the tweet, we literally should stand more for or believe in what the flag stands for, not necessarily what the just standing at a national anthem thing is. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, your grandpas were fighting for what the flag should stand for, not just for a flag, you know? Like, everybody's lives and everybody's like freedoms and stuff are supposed to be behind this flag, and that's what really should be the most important thing, and that's what he should have addressed. Like, they didn't even ask him like, are you going to kneel or whatever. They asked, how does he feel the upcoming season will be? Does he see players kneeling, and how he feels like the NFL should react to it? And he gave the complete wrong answer, and I guess it's good because we know his feelings now, you know, and it's really sad. Like, I get Louisiana is a red state, and a lot of people there are racist. I have a friend that still lives there, and she told me when she was in high school in like 2014, they still to this day have separate proms. Like, school puts on a prom, and that's the prom that the black kids go to, and then the white parents put on a separate prom, and that's the prom that the white students go to. Still in the 2020s, like, still now that stuff still happens in Louisiana. So he was maybe trying to save face and appease to that little market in Louisiana, even though New Orleans itself is majority African American. But like, you upset and you hurt, like, really you hurt a lot of people. I feel like right now people are really hurt by what he said. I did want to also make sure I mentioned somebody that did do something very awesome. My quarterback, Dak Prescott, he actually pledged to donate $1 million to address racism. He said, and I quote, he's doing this to improve our police training and address systematic racism through education and advocacy in our country. So basically the $1 million is going to go to whatever training programs that need to be put in place and education programs that need to be put in place in order to try to help stop police brutality moving forward. And I think that's an amazing thing, especially since Dak still don't have his contract yet. So, I mean, he's not making money like some of these other guys are. So I think that was dope to donate $1 million.
It is dope,
Devin,
but I have to ask the question, though. I have to ask one question, because as dope as that is, and I commend Dak for doing that, and I've heard this training sentiment for a long time, but can you train people out of a feeling? Can you train people to not be racist? Because I feel like that's not you don't really need training. You just kind of need to open your eyes and look around you, and people will tell you racism is wrong, but you choose to feel that way anyway. So how can you train people out of this?
Part of the training process is, like, right now the police go under an 8-week time or whatever. Now what could be included is having them go under an intense, like, I can't even talk right now. Psychiatric testing and psychological, sit downs with people in part of their testing to see if they are actually able to do that job. Like, it's not saying that we're going to train you to not be racist, but I think those kind of adding that kind of stuff that, like, other programs have, and before, I mean, people that are in whatever the CIA or FBI, how they have to go through, like, are they mentally okay to do this job? I think that's what needs to be added to the police training, because right now it's just like, oh, here's how you shoot a gun. Here's how you do this. Here's how you handcuff somebody. Here's how whatever. Here's
your badge.
Whatever part of it. Right. But there's a whole part missing. And I think this $1 million or whatever people donate to police training is not to teach them not to be racist. I think it's to make sure they're not letting people get through training that are racist. And I think that if it's used that way, I think will be very helpful, because there are a lot of, like, mental things that these police officers don't go through during their training process, and then they end up with a badge and they don't know how to handle stuff under pressure. They don't know how to deal with things, and that's why we get in situations that we have been in year after year, day after day. So
I think they'll have to do more than that, because as a police cadet in Denver, I'm sure you guys know that, you have to go through the same training the police officers do. And there is a psychological examination. I personally know 4 people who failed those psychological examinations who were given badges anyway, because they had a long history of family that were on the police department. So the psychological examinations are already in place. So I think it has to be more of, are we going to, there are laws in place to also prevent this kind of brutality that we receive. So now I think that's my question. Like, I understand that the training, but there literally are things in place right now. So these things don't happen. They're happening anyway. So I guess I'm just not sure if that
is the enforcer part.
Right.
Yeah, obviously, like, I mean, Dak alone can't fix everything by himself. This is a step he decided to do to help, and it's way better than what Drew Brees did by completely disowning the situation and saying like, oh, no, that's disrespectful to do that. I would never do that, blah, blah, blah. Like, my grandpa did this. Well, your teammates are fighting on the streets right now in order to save their lives. Why don't you protect them? Why don't you stand for them? Like, that's crazy. So, yeah, I think obviously there's a million different things that need to be done, and different people are going to be able to contribute in different ways, whether you're protesting or whether you're writing, new laws, whether you're helping enforce laws, like whatever the case is. But any little bit that anybody can do in this time is helpful. It's steps. And like you said the other day, Jackie, it's better if you take one step forward, but you got to make sure you continue taking one step. So, but Drew Brees, that set me back a little bit, because I don't even know. Brees. I don't.
He's
even know
easy to love, right? I'm like, Chris, what are we gonna do? What are we going to do this season? I don't even know.
The team is going to implode, because let's not forget, we just signed, I'm sorry we're coming over, but we just signed Malcolm Jenkins, and we know what Malcolm Jenkins has been about his entire career in the NFL. And to now have this coming from his quarterback, probably the reason why he came back to this team, I would be surprised if we still had some sort of a successful season if there is an NFL coming up, because there's going to be problems within the organization. And we've already had issues up top too with racism with our owners in the Benson family. So I don't know. This is just going to be the start of a lot of craziness. But look, if it's something's going to have to happen. I don't know what. I honestly don't know what yet. But
I don't know.
It's
heartbreaking now.
I want to mention one thing, just because we talked about Drew Brees and
exactly,
how he completely just like missed the point here. But there is an athlete who's on the right side of history. I don't know if you guys saw Tobias Harris's essay that he posted.
Yes.
It's pretty powerful. Yeah. So I'm so happy to see. I mean, he's been so active. We talked about how he called out OBJ. I think that was in our show yesterday, and now he published his opinionated piece. So he's definitely somebody who's doing the right thing. Same with Dak. And Britt, if what you were saying is like accurate, that Drew just didn't want to upset the racist fans in Louisiana, it's like that kind of thing. It's like celebrities not wanting to post because they don't want to rattle the racist fans. Like, do you want racist fans? Is that the type of people who want racist fans?
Right.
I would not care if I lost racist followers or supporters or, consumers. I don't want that. I don't want your money. I don't want your support. I don't want your likes, nothing. So I think it's very, very, very disappointing as a person who's in the position of power to say something like that and to completely knock the efforts that Kat did.
Just like what Chris was talking about, Bradley Bill saying, and what Chris said, and me too. Like, we've all literally lost followers during this time. Good riddance. Yeah. We didn't want people following us like that anyway. Like, the unfollow button works very well. Like, I'm with that. And you don't need to announce that you're unfollowing me, because I don't give a shit.
Right. I didn't know you were following me in the first place.
Right. I never knew who you were anyway.
Right.
I'll walk you out. All right. Well, that is our show for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. We are going to be back again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so make sure you tune in. Ring that notification bell so you know when we're going live and when we upload videos throughout the day. Give this video a thumbs up. Double check that you've subscribed. Leave a comment below and share this with your friends. Wash your hands. Stay safe, continue educating yourself, continue protesting for change, you guys, advocating for change, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.